Welcome back to the GSL Code S with Taste and Artosis, the Casting Archon. We're here seeing, so far, what looks like a pretty big upset.
You know, I'm going to go ahead and say I don't think it's as much of an upset. It
Really?
would have been, but as we go forward with time, players like Polt, like Optimus, become less successful. When you're relying too much on winning small battles rather than the overall game plan and the overall mechanical play, at the end of the day, this is an economy-based RTS game, and a player like Top, I mean, you can have a stylistic style like Optimus, but you have to keep with good strategies. You have to not rely on your opponents messing up. You have to have good macro and not make every command center 5 minutes after he makes his. It's like, well, that's just not going to work.
Yeah, you know, as good as Optimus is at this, at the way he's playing, the problem is he's never allowing himself to get a lead. And when he had the lead, at least in game number 1, he pissed it away by just trying to hold that same kind of lead without turning that lead, evolving that, morphing that into something better in the later games. So I'm waiting for the game. We're going to see Optimus be ahead for most of the game, and how does Top handle that situation?
Yeah, I don't know, man. We'll have to see, because Top's been doing really well so far. I think that Optimus really needs to start working on his mechanics a bit. He has to try to keep up and macro this game as much as he can if he wants to come back.
I agree. We'll see, though. Right now, Optimus knows that he is not actually allowed to make any more mistakes throughout this series. Optimus against Top, the battle of the glasses, Artosis.
Yes, it is.
The battle of bad eyesight here at the GSL. Optimus against Top. Terran versus Terran. Who's going to win? Optimus was considered the favorite here. I think now that we see the last 2 games, we're really questioning that call. Let's see if Optimus can come back, though. Comebacks do happen all the time here in the GSL Codex. All right, so 101 map. In the upper right, we have our Terran. He's down 0-2. He needs to win this and the next 2. Otherwise, he's going to go out in the round of 4 here in the GSL.
Optimus Prime win.
Happy birthday, Eric!
Yeah, Eric!
Eric's sitting at home like, oh, yeah! And there is Optimus now. Really pivotal moment here in his career. And he's handsome. In his pivotal in his career, too. In the bottom left. So far, he's been playing amazingly.
All right.
I've been in these situations, as if you are Toast the Top's in, where, you know, you're so close to closing this out, but you know your opponent is so good you're not allowed to make any mistakes.
No.
And I don't know what the story is with this shot.
No idea. But it's quite true, Tasis. I mean, he can't falter.
No.
Both games, Optimus was in good positions at various times. But, you know, Top just kept his nose to the grindstone, so to say. He kept expanding at the right times. He kept making a lot of units. And even though at times Optimus was perhaps cost efficient, Top had bigger economy, better map control, things like that. And in the long run, that's going to pay off a lot. And, you know, I think he's got to keep on relying on that. He shouldn't alter his play style, really. I mean, it'd be very smart of him to just keep up exactly how he's been going, because that's the type of player that beats a player like Optimus, because he doesn't keep up on those ways.
Now, Optimus, if you guys notice here, going for a quick expand build, so he's deviating from the openers he was using in the previous games. Openers where he comes in punching, he comes in swinging, and instead he's saying, all right, I need to play a game where if I do everything right at the start of this, I'm going to be ahead.
Well, both players getting those quick command centers. Tops is in his main base, getting 2 gases to the 1 gas of Optimus. And, well, it just looks like Optimus is once again going to go probably for some more barracks. And just, well, yeah, as I say that, he throws down a couple barracks.
Look at you.
Yeah,
Fortune teller you.
Well, it's
That's why
not
they
too
don't
hard
know
with
that
them, man.
Warlocks cast this game because they can see the future.
It's, Tasteless, I thank you deeply, but it's like saying Czech Prime is probably going to go Roaches against Terran. Or Roaches, just in any matchup. He's a stylistic player, and you can still go Marine Marauder to some extent, but the mech play right now is the play to go. It's the place to be.
It is. I love mech play TDT.
Yeah.
I don't think that the barrack style will ever fully go away, but I think we may see it phase out and then maybe phase back in a few years from now.
I feel like it's already phased out to a certain extent. It's still being used, and I think it'll always be used a little bit. Especially when you go a lot of siege tanks with it and just use it for mobility. That's pretty cool, but the more you use just Marines and Marauders, you're banking on your opponent making mistakes. And you don't want to do that because Top doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes. Well, there we go. Factory is done. Will he get Siege or Blue Flame? Probably Blue Flame. Yeah, there it is. In the meantime, we have combat shields on the way and just a lot of Marines being produced by Optimus.
Maybe gearing up for a pretty early attack here.
Yeah, I think we might see a little Marine timing attack. That's definitely a possibility.
And here.
It can be quite good, but against Blue Flame Hellions out of one factory plus a bunker full of Marines on the low ground, Top may be able to hold it without any damage. And if he can hold it without any damage, then he gains the lead from that.
And we know what happens from there.
Yeah. So. Don't want to give Top a lead, man. When he's on top, he stays on top.
Artosis, we're going to have some downtime.
Yes.
What do we need to talk about, Artosis? What do people need to know?
What do people need to know? Okay, Tasteless. If I ran the world, I would send to some sort of Artosis-style prison where you learn to be a considerate human, all the people with the cars that are so loud that when they walk by, you can't have a conversation.
Oh, God.
Those,
you see these motorcycles that
the
drive
motorcycles
around Seoul,
as well.
and they don't have
when they make them loud
mufflers.
on purpose. No, the people that make them loud on purpose, they say, you know what, I'm going to spend extra money to make this loud on purpose. And then I have this imaginary conversation I always have in my head about this, where it's like, well, but no one can have a conversation when you drive by. Are you this important? I don't understand. What is this? And he's like, no, it's cool, man. I'm cool because of this. It's like, well, actually, no, you're not. You're actually just a dickhead. That's what you are. I actually hate you, and I wish you wouldn't do that because I can't have I have to stop talking.
No, dude, this happened to me on the phone, man. I'm like walking to work and stuff, and I'm like, hold on, Artosis. It's like, and speaking of which, these Hellions might have that on here as they get dropped out. And unfortunately, I don't know if this attack's going to be too successful unless these Hellions get the perfect shot off.
Almost.
No.
Great defense by Polt.
What they did to those Hellions is what I wish I could do to those motorcycles in Seoul as they drive by my apartment.
Yeah.
At 7 in the morning and wake me up. But I'm like,
really,
man?
I know there's people watching that probably do that too. There's probably one or two.
I think those really.
And you know what?
You guys those noise devices in the States.
It should be because it's an obstruction of my peace. You can have as much fun as you want with whatever you want until it really interferes with other people, and then it's actually you are an ass. So that's what people need to know, Tasteless.
The guy's like, well, the other thing I like to do is run into a burning building. A non-burning building and scream fire. No,
that's illegal.
That's illegal, bro.
Can't do it.
Brosif. Broham. R2 Bro 2. He didn't get enough there.
No, he's. I'm actually really impressed with Polt's defense so far.
He's Optimus Artosis.
Optimus is
his name
defense,
is Optimus.
Man. Another Hellion coming in here. Getting an SCV. But still, he's not doing as good a job as he would have hoped. But still, Top is way up on the SCV count. He's up at 51 against 41.
We would expect a drop like this to do more damage. Optimus' defense is good, but yeah, SCV count still there.
Now we have a lot of Marines and Marauders. We have medevacs out, and he's not even making siege tanks. So this is where he's like, all right, Top, I hope you made a mistake. Because if you did, I'm going to punish you and probably win. But if you didn't, if you're just playing solid as hell because you practice all the time and you know how to do it, then I'm in so much trouble.
Top, it looks like he's going to go around. And actually, I think Top might be in so much trouble.
Yeah, he might be Tasteless. Well, he does have siege tanks. He does have a Raven for point defense drone. So we will see. And he's sending the Marauders out in the front. Will he throw down point defense drone? And he does. Beautifully done.
Oh my God, beautiful.
Can he hold though?
He can with ease. And once again, Optimus, what are you doing? The 3 Marauders, like, did every Marine die?
Yeah, and here's the thing. He was hoping. He's like, well, maybe he doesn't have a point defense drone ready. You know, maybe his tanks are a little bit too much out of position. Maybe he has no units coming down the ramp. But guess what? He did, and now you're 30 supply behind. I'm sorry, man. Stop banking on people making mistakes.
You know, I am really shocked by Optimus he's doing this. In the most important game, he actually
to be fair,
on his opponent making a mistake, Artosis.
To be fair, it is his style. I mean, this is what he likes to do. He likes to punish people for mistakes like this. But as the mechanical ceiling does rise and everyone becomes better and better and better, he's going to have less success with strategies like this. And I hope he learns it, man.
Well, right now, Top is once again in a huge lead, and we will once again, guys, be seeing Optimus try to survive this series.
Yep. Well, Top being very smart, taking that third base, getting a planetary.
Yeah, being very conservative by getting a planetary, not getting an orbital, knowing that, okay, the way people normally go mass Marines and Marauders and Medevacs is they just want to drop in locations you're not. So with planetaries there, he can pretty adequately defend. Now, Optimus is taking a risk here, and he's double expanding. He's already taken the middle right. Now he wants to take the center right. And he's not done with this mass barracks thing, Artosis.
No, he is going just balls to the wall. You know, Marine Marauder just completely, I want to overrun you. I want to run around you. I want to outmaneuver you. And we'll see if he's able to do that. Beautiful micro there by Top, picking off one of the medevacs. And Top has already made a turret ring in his main base. So, I mean, he's not making the mistakes that Optimus needs him to make. But he might be here. He's moving forward pretty quickly, Tasteless. And you have to be so careful with how quickly you move against this style Optimus is using. If he catches you out of position with anything, then he's going to possibly win. But if you move very slowly, it's going to be so difficult.
Can you check? Do we have confirmation? Does Top know about the center expansion? Do it after
check
this
that out.
attack,
Hold on.
Oh my God, that was bad.
Yep.
Note to self: do not walk into siege tanks.
Well, no, he does not know about Optimus's fourth base. That is the case. And, you know, Optimus is actually doing a really great job this game of staying up on expansions. You know, when you're going Marine Marauder, absolutely you have to stay up on expansions.
Uh-oh. Hellion drop spotted. Dun, dun, dun.
4 Hellions in there. No turrets in the way. And here comes
coming out a little bit too late. He might have even wanted to turn around with that. That was... If you get your Hellion drop spotted that quickly, you want to actually run away.
Yeah, you're probably quite right on that, Tasteless.
Goodbye. No.
Whoa, a little bit of luck there for Top.
He pulled out too soon.
Yeah. Optimus just barely pulling out too soon there, Tasteless. But here's one thing, Tasteless. Better too soon than too late.
Yeah. Especially with pulling out.
Yep.
No, actually the opposite. Anyways, now we see the map basically getting cut in half. This is getting a little bit tough.
Yeah,
you know, here, because this is not quite the lopsided game we saw before. In fact, guys, if you look at their supplies, they're barely even.
That's true. We do have Optimus in the lead. I mean, he's got 196. He's maxed now against 179, but the supply of Top is so much more worthwhile. It's all these siege tanks, and he's made turret rings. In fact, he's continuing to add to his turret rings. He's making a complete turret wall with siege tanks. And look at this.
Running in here.
Trying to get in.
This could be a mistake, Artosis.
It could be indeed.
Optimus's army is melted. Oh my God, but when I said melted, I meant more stuff is coming in here.
And it looks like he will break through this part, Tasteless. So well done by Optimus breaking through.
There are so many siege tanks here. He wiped out a big chunk of that. Is he going to be able to utilize it? I don't know. It looks like Optimus Top just replenishes the siege tanks.
After all that, 16 siege tanks do remain, Tasteless. That's quite a few indeed, but he can't have just siege tanks. It's going to get a little bit scary. He's going to want more siege tanks than not.
He's breached it. He's breached the defense's Artosis. Optimus now has free reign in the territory of Top.
He does.
He needs to get that planetary up in ASAP. most at a sap lead.
It looks like he will lose that for sure.
Wow, that step dies fast.
Good move there by Optimus. Good siege up though.
I don't know if Optimus is going to lose to Sartosis. Once he carved a hole into the top of the map, suddenly it Top's less mobile unit composition is not so sexy.
Yeah. Well, you know, he's making a lot of command centers right now, which I love. That's going to help him free up some supply when he's using the mules. But right now, Top might be in a lot of trouble, Tasteless. Look at this, Optimus picking off another set of siege tanks almost for free. And Top spread himself a bit too thin. And you never want to do that, whether it's siege tanks or peanut butter, Tasteless. You need huge globs all over the important areas, being the toast or near expansions.
Yeah, it's important.
But he tried to split the map in half before he was maxed out. It gets very dangerous, as I've said a quadrillion times in the GSL cast. When you're going mech against Marine Marauder, after you have that third base up, you almost have to max out really before going anywhere else. And we see that he's been pushed down into his 3-4 bases, and he's finally maxing out right now. But he's got to very methodically move out through the map with his siege tank clumps.
Now we have the army moving out towards the center of the map. I think right now Optimus knows he has a positional advantage. Now how's he going to utilize that?
Well, we do have a battle cruiser on the way for Top. Interesting transition against Marine Marauder.
I'm actually surprised he's even going to get a battle cruiser.
Yeah, I thought he would stay on mech, but
well, I mean, what is a battle? You're going to have a bunch of Marines that just shoot it down.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
He's going to move in here. Oh my God, this is really smart. He's just going to try to go up into
If he gets into the factories, Tasteless, that's what he's going to need to win. Taking out Starports can always be nice as well. SCV's coming out to do battle. Banshees are mixed in at this point, and the Blue Flame Aliens taking out a lot of Marines here. You know, as the game progresses further and further, the Marines are going to die quicker and quicker to Top siege tanks and Hellions. So the fact that he's going for some battle cruisers and some Banshees makes some sense in that way.
Now, here's the problem, though, is right now Top supply has plummeted to 162 during that attack. Oh, gets the armory, no ship upgrades. That kind of throws a wrench in the gears here for Top. Both armories taken out right now as Optimus continue to stay in this incredibly low tier very effectively. Now going for the fusion core. Goodbye.
Look at that as well, and taking out some add-ons. Very effective move by Polt. Polt right now, 20 supply up on Top. But actually, 62 SCVs for Optimus, and Top has 49. Very interesting turn of events there earlier on. Top was way ahead in SCV counts, but of course using SCVs there to help slow down that attack that went into his main base.
By the way, Optimus can barely, actually both these guys, they can barely spend their money, but especially Optimus with his Vespian gas. More Vespian gas and minerals, that's really common. Oh my God, he's repair. Too late.
And Optimus
planetary is nice.
You know, you give Optimus a couple opening stasis, and this is what he does with them. This is why this guy gets so far, despite this somewhat antiquated play style.
Now we have more Stim Marines Marauders moving in here, taking out each of the more powerful units as they come along.
The BCs now really being worth their weight in gold, but in the meantime, Optimus has put up a bunch more starports. He can switch over into Vikings if he wants. Look at that, just taking out important little structures. I love it.
Optimus is just a beast. He's doing such a great job taking out
that Banshee.
As you guys note, he's actually macroing up so well, and also he's making units as this battle is going on with everything beautifully hockeyed.
Yeah.
So right now, basically Top is just kind of sitting around as Optimus starts into his base, destroys stuff, then Top tries to catch up, but as he's catching up, Optimus already has another army ready.
Well, it isn't over yet. Top still has a lot of siege tanks, and with the battle cruisers, out and some Banshees as well, he's not dead until all his minerals are gone, Tasteless. It's a very cost-efficient unit composition.
All right. Destroying all these SCVs over here. Optimus is almost out of locations to mine from effectively.
And look at this, only a few Marines left, so these BCs are able to just push all these units out very easily. The high armor of those battlecruisers is so useful against Marines.
I think actually Optimus might get intercepted here as he goes back home. See, a trap.
Yeah.
That's a trap.
And here we go. The trap has sprung, and the Marauders disappear before we can even show you.
So Top has almost cut the map back off. He needs to get this position back here. He's taken some losses.
He's got out his surgical gauze, Tasteless. He tied a belt around his gashed arm, and now the map has been cut in half.
He could shoot up a stim pack.
Well, he's going to need the adrenaline to stop, make his heart not stop, Tasteless.
Yeah, no kidding.
But, you know, Optimus is in good shape. He's still maxed out. And Top is going to be there in just a second as well. He's retaking these bases. And even though it looked for moments, for even long periods of time, like Optimus would take this, it's beginning to go back into Top's favor with this very cost-efficient set of units.
We got a battle, and this position here for the Marines and Marauders is going to wreck Top, who should not have moved out, who should instead focused on defense once he had that opening. Now, I don't know how far in these Marauders are going to get, but right now, although we see the Vikings here from OGS Top doing greatly here against the Medivacs, the ground army is getting wrecked.
You know, I can't believe he keeps moving out with just small portions of his army. You can really just cut everything in half and, you know, just say, hey, my units are actually just so much more cost efficient. You can run up against my wall all day long.
Well, you know, here's the problem as well, is that Top just keeps making Marauders, tanks against somebody who's going for Marauders.
Yeah.
Now, as you guys will see here, Marauders are really good against siege tanks, so
pushing far
Top
too
is like
forward.
Stuck in his own ways right now.
Yeah, Top just non-stop, man. He's just pushing up with these units. His supply is below Optimus's once again. Little Viking battles on the side. Such an interesting unit composition by both players.
And as you guys can see here, all that Optimus has to do is run in here, shoot down the siege tanks. When he realizes he can't do any more damage, he just turns around.
The value, the build time, everything of these siege tanks worth more than the Marines and Marauders.
Exactly.
So every time that happens, Optimus smiles a little bit to himself and says, I'm coming back.
He gives himself a high five, which sounds like just claps.
Yeah.
Smooth.
That's a good way to give a high five. I do that a lot, Tasteless.
I high five in the mirror.
When I'm beating a boss in a video game, I go like that. I'm like, yeah! Well, you're laughing at me. It's true. I did it today. See some nice SCV carnage there. We have 46 SCVs for Top, 61 for Polt. And it looks like Optimus.
I don't see him losing this, Artos. Oh, God.
He's adding a lot of tech labs.
He's going to completely switch his tech up here.
Yeah, he's going to be going for mass Banshee at this point. And actually, he's making a tech lab as well, so we could see some BCs. But, you know, Top, again, he's not dead yet, and he's been out of position so many times, lost so many units that were kind of wastefully lost. But look at this, a nice little run-in again. Top just so spread out at the moment, and he's going to lose yet another base.
Siege tank, siege up.
Great job taking out a lot of medevacs here. That's very annoying. It's going to be harder and harder to actually heal all these up. Then each time they stim and run into tank lines to remove them, it's going to be diminishing returns. This is a wild game, Tasteless. Well, these two are having insanely good games.
It's interesting to see that in Top's position, he can still hang on as long as Optimus can. Just as, you know, when Optimus is now in the lead. I think Optimus is actually being very careful and very patient in this game. He's only picking the battles he can win.
Yeah, you know, he's turning it on, Tasteless. He is the guy who still uses styles like this, and he knows what he needs to do. He needs to keep picking off these units. He needs to be able to do tech switches. He's ready for one. Hasn't done it yet, but he has those starports ready.
Yeah.
And Top, I mean, this guy is still mining a good amount, but he needs to, you know.
He breached it. He's going to get the upper left expansion. There's going to be another huge blow here for Top. Top needs to get his stuff over here right now.
Looks like he's going to lose that base stasis, but maybe not with these Blue Flame Aliens.
He needs to buy time. He needs to repair.
Uh-oh, a lot of siege tanks look like they will go down.
Oh my God, another attack over here. This actually is going to be really bad here for Top. He just lost all those siege tanks. at his expansion. Now he's going to lose many more in his main.
Yeah, it looks like Top
That
may
might be
actually be
GG.
dead, man. Yeah, he doesn't have a whole lot left. His economy is now pretty much gone, barely mining at this point. And as he loses the factories, which are far too expensive to get back, probably will be seeing a GG in a few moments here.
Yeah, that is basically the end of Top this game. He's leapfrogging with siege tanks, but that's actually not good because the Marines Marauders don't really care. They just run away or engage when they're not in siege mode, and that will be GG.
Will be
GG any second now, guys.
Certainly. The next army even moving through. Top knows there's just nothing left, and GG.
Fairly abrupt ending there. And you can see Optimus knows, thank God. I managed to come back there. That was not an easy game. Top definitely hung on there. You know, I got to be critical of Top. He never switched up his unit composition. Guys going Marauders like the entire game. He's like, I don't know, man. Siege tanks look pretty cool.
I'm fine with the siege tanks if he actually just uses them more carefully. You don't just put groups of 4 or 5 off on the sides. Really concentrate your defenses. Divide up the map.
Yeah.
You know, if you have to, if the map's that big, make some planetaries. The amount of money he spent refilling siege tanks that were just out on their own guarding areas that he shouldn't have split off quite yet. He could have spent that money on a few planetaries and buffered the siege tanks. And, I mean, that's a pretty hard defense to get through with Marine Marauder, Tasteless.
You know, the fact is, you're dead right on the planetaries, first of all. If you're going to get siege tanks like that into a split map game, let the guy who's going infantry figure it out. Make it his problem. Just cut the map up and then defend correctly. Make turrets, tons of siege tanks, and be ready. Maybe even have a Raven to absorb some of the Marauder shots.
Of course, that is one of the greatest things as well. I love the players that actually get 2-3 Ravens and have them near their mechs saying, hey, you know what? You come in here with those Marauders, they aren't shooting anything. Players like Ryung do that, and that's godly.
Now this means we're going to go on to game number 4. So I know that a lot of you nerds who like watching these two guys playing this really excited. They're curling their toes. They're like, yes!
Yeah, man.
And lucky for you because we're going to have that. We might even go to game number 5. We don't know.
Could be. Tal'Darim Altar.
Optimus looks pretty good right now.
Yeah, and Tal'Darim's a big map. It's a very wide open map.
I think it suits Optimus's play style as
well.
well.
If there's a map that Optimus is going to feel pretty good on with his style of running around and stuff, this could be it.
All right. So get ready for game number 4 here. Can Optimus come back? You can really see the emotion in Optimus right now and Top.
Yeah,
they both want this so badly.
Who doesn't, Tasteless? A GSL championship, that is the crown of a career.
You do. You want that so badly.
After that, it's just about getting gems in it like Nestea.
Yeah. Now, Optimus against Top. Game number 4 has loaded. So when our Korean commentators are ready, we're going to get this started and get this in-game here. I am Tasteless. With me is Artosis. We're the Casting Archon here in Seoul, Korea. And this is the biggest, bestest, not just esports show, but show on Earth. Take that, Iron Chef. This is the GSL Codex.